We have fostered for over 19 years.
About 10 years. I did a couple of years of foster care, and then did about 5 years working at the residential center at the Christian Children's Home, and then have spent the last 3 years doing foster care again.
I've been a foster parent on and off for 23 years.
We actually became instant parents of 3 overnight, so it was something that was a shock to the system, but absolutely a blessing at the same time.
We have adopted 4, and all of them were teenagers when we adopted them.
They've all been between 11 and 18.
We've fostered children from birth to 16.
Well, it all starts with Mary's mother. In a million years, I never thought that I would be doing what I'm doing. And, you know, it's a team, it has to be a team. And if I didn't see the difference that her mother made in many, many lives, I wouldn't agree to do it. And
I think that you just have to step out and do it. There's so many kids that need love and that are ready to love in a family, and that all they desire is to have the family. And you know, we toyed around with adoption and what we were going to do and how we were going to create our family for many, many years, and I really wish we wouldn't have waited as long as we did.
I've actually done foster care longer than I've had children, so we started before we had any children. Had our first son while we were doing foster care. Then we moved out here to work at the Christian Children's Home, and continued to work as teaching parents for up to 10 teenagers at a time. While we had our own children, I had Hope while we were working as teaching parents in the cottages, and then we continued to do foster care with both of them.
I feel like my husband and I were called to foster and adopt. It's just been something that's always been on our hearts. And I feel like it's made our spiritual walk, made us grow closer to God, because there are times when you're not going to make it without God. It's just, it can be an emotional roller coaster, and you need to know that you're doing what God wants you to do.
And I was a foster child. Okay. And I was a teenager when I came into care. I came there late at night, and my mother was at the door, and she greeted me and hugged me, which was very peculiar to me at that time, because I did not get that. And she had there was my mom and my dad and my sister, and she had a tray with cookies and finger jello, and they wanted to know about me. And I was very scared, and when I went to bed, I had sheets that had no holes. I had clean stuff. I was in awe of them. I was only supposed to stay there for the weekend. And after the weekend, my father came out and he said, we really, really like you, and we would like for you to stay. The abuses that I went through, the rejection, the abandonment I went through, when these kids come in, I feel that I'm more compassionate, I'm more understanding. I'm not perfect, but this is a growing phase journey for us all.
In the training, it was really helpful. We learned a lot of things and had a lot of examples given to us of things that actually could happen in home and how to deal with them. But the friendships that we've gained through the training was the most important, and we still are in contact with and stay in close contact with all of our friends that we met in training, and have helped each other out with respite and just any kind of questions that we have.
Some of the children in care have behaviors that you wouldn't necessarily want your kids to see, but I think over the years I've learned overall it's been a great experience for my kids. When I've talked to our children about the kids we foster, if they want to continue taking kids in our home, they both say yes, and they'd like to have more. So
there were struggles with when the kids had to leave, or when it wasn't a good fit in the home and they had to leave, or when they went home to their birth parents, or went on to another adoptive family. We had some infants that went to us for just a couple days and then on to an adoptive family. So those were hard. They learned compassion. They learned what it's like to, well, they learn to empathize what it would be like to lose your parents. They learn to appreciate other cultures. I feel like they were able to grow a lot and learn things that the typical child does not get the privilege of having that experience.
I come from a family of 14, so we're kind of in and out of foster care our whole life. For them, when I came with them, I kind of didn't have any guidance. I had no boundaries, so I kind of had to learn all that again. And so their rules I thought were strict, and I had a hard time adapting to them, and it took a little bit, but I mean, they're great parents, and I love them to death, and so it's definitely hard to adapt to the rules. But once I got that they love me and they're trying to do what's best for me, following the rules became a little bit easier for me. But being honest, no one likes rules, but I mean, everyone has to have them, and if I didn't have rules, I don't know where I would be now, so.
With the people in Sunday school and in like the nursery and children's church and things like that, it's very important that they have an understanding of what these kids have been through and maybe have an understanding and a different type of compassion towards them, to understand that, you know, they might act out differently and they might not be used to sitting still, or they might not be used to having to sit and listen or be dressed up for church and things like that. So these might be new things to them because they've never had that experience before in their life. So having a church family that is understanding that, you know, even though we've had the kids for, you know, 9 months, that sometimes they're still going to have some behaviors and they're still going to have some tendencies from previous life. So having a group that understands that and can, you know, be there, and then also having people that have been in the foster and the adoption, they can help by, you know, giving us guidance, and somebody who's been there and done that, you know, for a new family starting out is tremendous.
There's been some children we fostered that, or when we worked in residential, some times where I needed lots of time off, and there's been other times that, you know, I haven't felt that much. I think it's most important to be aware of where you're at personally, to not let yourself just get totally run down and burned out.
You need time to become whole and functional, and you know, if your kids are going through a season where they need more than what you have to give, you can't be a good parent to more children if you're spreading yourself too thin. So you got to be sure that you're emotionally and physically capable of taking care of the children you bring in your home and the children that are already there.
I love older kids. I love teenagers. They, I feel, are the most misunderstood population. And there's such a need out there, and they can communicate with you, they can tell you what they're feeling, and you get so attached to them, and they just want somebody to listen, they want somebody to love them, they need stability, and I believe anybody can do that. And
find your comfort zone. I mean, some people do so well with babies, and teenagers maybe not so much, other people the other way around. So, you know, just do respite for different kids, just kind of, you know, before you adopt, kind of have different personalities, you know, different kids, to see just where you're at.
It's actually been a real blessing. I know a lot of people shy away from teenagers, but they tend to have better communication skills. They can tell you what they need. They can tell you what they're accustomed to. They, you know what you're getting, so to speak. They're right out there. The girls have been just a joy. And babies are cute and they're fun, and I've enjoyed that too.
When I left residential and we decided to foster again, we decided to go with a Christian Children's Home because it's a private agency and a Christian agency. I feel like working through a private agency as a foster parent, that there's more support, that you can get questions answered more quickly. You don't have to wait days and days to hear from somebody. One of the other things that I just greatly appreciate about the foster care department at the children's home is all the experience. It's where we had worked before, people were case managers and supervisors, but that's all they did. They hadn't actually worked directly with these kids. And that's been completely different at the children's home. I feel like everybody we work with on the team has had some direct experience as foster parents or adoptive parents or working in the residential center. So they have experience, they have answers to our question, and I feel like they're very supportive.
Christian Children's Home of Ohio has been amazing. I mean, through the Christmas of having the big party, and then the donors that have, contributed to the children. I mean, I never seen anything like it. It was amazing.
Christian Children's Home of Ohio is changing lives. It's not just the kids' lives they're changing, though. It's the foster parents too.
And we could not do this without being able to call somebody at a moment's notice. And, you guys are always there for us, and it's been very educational. We come from two different backgrounds. Mary, at one point, living in a car, homeless. I had the Beaver Cleaver childhood. So I've got a college education in these 19 years, and most of it provided through CCHO. Just you don't have to know everything to do this. I mean, it's a learning curve. You never stop learning.
And I think it was really important. I know it was very important to us to have a Christian agency.
Definitely.
Because of how we believed, and we wanted our children brought up in a Christian home, and we had our own children that were older, and that was important, and CCHO has been through a lot with us.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was very important that we had that Christian support.
Fostering through the Christian Children's Home of Ohio, I know that I have a good support system. I know that that I'm being told the truth at all times. I know that they're looking out for the best interest of the child and also for the best interest of their foster children or foster families. It gives you some security to know those things and to know that you're going to be supported and that you're going to get all the just support, the therapies and someone coming into your home and respite if you need it, and just all those support systems are always there, and the social workers and the therapists genuinely care about the families and the kids.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for ministry, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity for growth. I think it's one of the greatest challenges that you could put on yourself. I mean, to really take one of these kids who has just had a really difficult upbringing, and it's not just like having your own kid. I mean, it takes so much patience and time and love, and it's not something where you can just fix everything overnight. It takes years and years of consistency and safety and just giving of yourself. But I think it's a great opportunity not to just help somebody else, but to grow as a person also.
Probably seeing the change in them, how they blossom over when you first get them, and they're scared to death, and you get through the honeymoon period, and some struggles are worse than others, and then just see how they turn out.
Pray, communicate with your spouse, make it a family decision.
For us, it was definitely a leap of faith, just to start the process in general. And then when we got our call that our license had come in and that they had kids the same day, we got, I made the call to Brandon and I said, honey, remember how we were licensed for 2? Well, they have 3. And I said, what do you think? And we talked about it and said a quick prayer, and I said, I think this is it. I think these are our kids. I said, I think we have to go for it. And it was nothing more but stepping out on our faith, saying, we were ready for 2. We had a house all set up and ready for 2, and they're older than what we were expecting, but I really think this is our family. And it just, everything aligned, and God definitely put them in our lives for a reason.
Well, it all starts with Mary's mother. In a million years, I never thought that I would be doing what I'm doing. And it's a team, has to be a team. And if I didn't see the